The three E's are simple: energy, emotions, and effectiveness. Without energy, it's harder to experience high quality emotions. Without high quality emotions, it's harder to motivate and discipline ourselves to get the right things done. We won't achieve our goals, we won't realize our vision, and we'll have to settle for what life offers us. Hey there, it's Ricky Otto, and this channel is for anybody looking for unique strategies and tools they can use to improve the quality of their lives, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And today we are diving into the three E's: energy, emotions, and effectiveness. Three things that are absolutely crucial to living a high quality life. They are so important that you are probably using them unconsciously to analyze this video. You are asking yourself, does this guy have the energy I like? Does he captivate me emotionally? And is he effective at conveying his thoughts and ideas? If yes to all three of those, you will probably keep watching this video, and hopefully that is the case. The simplest definition of energy is the ability to do work, and without it, we can't get anything done. No exercise, no playing with the grandkids, no focusing on anything long enough to make any meaningful progress at all. In a perfect world, we would find ways to increase the amount of energy we have on a daily basis so we can get more done. Imagine in front of me are a row of empty glasses, and in my hand is a jug of water. The glasses represent projects or tasks in my life. When I fill them to the brim with water, they are complete and I can push them aside. The jug represents me, and the water, my energy levels. As I go throughout the day, I focus on and pour my energy into the glasses or projects. If I have too many projects and not enough energy, I won't make a lot of progress. But if I have fewer projects and a whole bunch of energy, I might actually be able to fill all of them or complete all of my projects. The goal is to increase the amount of energy we have and then pour that energy into the few glasses, into the few projects that actually matter the most to us. And also, we only have one focus. So if we try to pour all of our energy into all of the glasses at the same time, we're just going to waste it all. So we have to focus on each project or task for long enough to actually complete it. Now, emotions determine the quality of our life. If we're sad, pissed off, and frustrated all the time, that is the quality of our life: sad, pissed off, and frustrated. It doesn't matter how much money we have, how fit or physically capable we are, or how loved we are on the outside. So we must find ways to increase the quality of the emotions that we experience on a daily basis. Because at the end of our lives, when we ask ourselves, how did we live? We won't be breaking out spreadsheets, collecting our trophies, and counting all of our achievements. We'll be asking ourselves, how do we feel about our lives? How did we feel most of the time? So we've got to increase the quality of the emotions that we experience. Effectiveness is our ability to get the right things done. If we are ineffective, then we might be super busy and achieving a lot of all the wrong stuff. Our lives are a mix between our current responsibilities and obligations coming from the outside and our wildest dreams, goals, and aspirations coming from the inside. And they sort of mesh together. If we're ineffective, we'll get bogged down by all of our responsibilities and obligations and have no time for our goals. But if we become more effective, we can start knocking these things out and leave ourselves more time to pursue our own goals, our own visions, and our own aspirations. So we've got to figure out how to become more effective. And all of these things affect each other. When we have a lot of energy, it's easier to experience high quality emotions. When we experience high quality emotions, it's easier to motivate and discipline ourselves to get the right things done. If we are effective at creating energy and managing our emotional state, well, it starts a wonderful upward spiral. However, it can work in the opposite direction. If we have no energy, it's easier to experience negative emotions. In that case, it's harder to motivate and discipline ourselves to get the right things done. If we're ineffective at creating energy and managing our state, it starts a horrible downward spiral. So we've got to avoid that at all costs. Because these things all affect each other, we're going to start with effectiveness and work our way back from there. Again, effectiveness is our ability to get the right things done. If we are ineffective or fail, it is for one of two reasons. We are unable or we are unwilling. Let's say we're unable. Well, there's four causes. We lack the skill, we lack the resources, we lack the support, or we lack the clarity. Let's start with skill since it's pretty straightforward. we've got to get practice. We've got to read a book, watch the videos, attend the events. We've got to seek out the guidance of experts who have achieved the results we are after, learn from them, model them, apply those principles to our own life so we can achieve similar results. If you read just one good book about any unique subject, you will know more about that subject than most people will ever know in their entire life. On to cause number 2, a lack of resources. If we fail or become ineffective due to a lack of resources, we're actually lying to ourselves and we have to establish a new belief. It is not due to a lack of resources. It is because we do not yet have the ability to acquire the resources we need. All of the tools, all of the equipment, all of the money we would ever need is all out there. We just have to find ways to acquire it. And this actually brings us to reason or cause number 3, a lack of support. There are 2 types of support I can think of: economic support and emotional support. Economic support would be like tools, equipment, software, money, anything we need to get the job done. Emotional support, that's pretty straightforward. You know what that is. It's the encouragement you need from your friends, your family, or even total strangers to keep moving forward. If you lack either one of these, economic or emotional support, it has the same underlying cause. It just means we have not provided enough value. We have not delivered to enough people because we're stranded in a desert, or we haven't been working long enough, or we have not provided enough value to the people we have delivered to. We just have to increase the amount of value we provide. People must see something in it for themselves if they are going to contribute to, support, or get involved with anything at all. We're inherently selfish, and there's too many things around us to pay attention to all of it all at once. So something really has to stick out. Something has to be super valuable to us if we're even going to notice it at all. So if we're lacking support, economic or emotional, we just have to increase the value we provide. We have to deliver to more people, or we have to increase the amount of value we're offering to the people we have delivered to. Now, cause number 4, and the most common cause of ineffectiveness and failure, is a lack of clarity. Most people will fail to achieve their big goals, not because they lack ambition or work ethic, but because they are not totally clear on exactly what they need to do next to make a little bit more progress toward those big goals. And therefore, they pour their focus and attention into smaller things they do know how to accomplish. Since their big goals are all hazy, sort of elusive and abstract and not concrete and measurable and totally clear, they divert their attention to smaller things like opening the refrigerator door 24 times in 1 hour to look at the same food they still do not want to eat. If this is you, then all you have to do is become very clear as possible on your visions, your goals, your projects, and the tasks, the tiny little things that you must do next to make a little bit of progress. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit of progress each day for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, then a few years, and eventually you will achieve your big goals. Now, real quick, if you need help getting totally clear on your visions, your goals, your projects, your tasks, the very next things you need to do to make a little bit of progress, check out the link in the description to the IMAP workbook. It's totally free. It's called the Immediate Massive Action Plan Workbook. I map out my future, I map out my life. It's the system I actually use to map out my entire life, starting from my vision to my projects, all the way down to the tiny little tasks that I need to do each and every day. And it was born out of frustration. I went to many events, attended the workshops, I read the books, and I was always frustrated at the goal-setting exercises because they seemed to lack the ability to help me break my big vision down into consistent daily actions. And so this is the most elaborate thing that I could think of that I put together out of my own frustration. And I want you to skip that frustration and get straight to action to get as clear as possible. So I highly encourage you to do that right now. In fact, pause the video and get it, because your vision is only as real as your commitment to make it so. So that wraps up the big reason number 1. We're unable. Let's say we're unwilling. If we're unwilling, it really means that we are unwilling to sacrifice something decent now for something that could be better later on. We lack motivation and discipline. Discipline being our ability to give ourselves a command and execute it. This is okay occasionally, but if it's consistent, it's a sign that we lack the belief in our ability to achieve our goals, or we struggle to get our state of mind in alignment with our intentions to act. If you lack the belief in your ability to achieve your big goals, it's because you haven't achieved enough small ones yet. Most people will set enormous goals and then judge themselves for not accomplishing them soon enough. They'll get pissed off and frustrated and wonder why they're so poor and ineffective. But in reality, those big goals consist of a series of much smaller ones that must be completed every day. If you can break your big goals down into smaller bite-sized chunks, into little tasks, into the thing that you need to do next, to the point where you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what you need to do, it will do something very important. It will lower the ask to the point you act. When you focus on a big goal, your brain perceives a high level of energy and effort required to get started. And if that energy and effort is higher than the willpower you currently have, you won't act. But if you can break it down into smaller pieces, you will lower the ask until you act. That is the truest art of self-discipline. Once you start achieving your small goals, it will reinforce the belief in your ability to achieve what you set your mind to. There is nothing that can replace the power of that belief. That momentum will make you unstoppable. Now, there is another way to kickstart your momentum if you don't want to work up the motivation and discipline required to get started, and that is through accountability. If you lack the discipline required to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you must use accountability to bridge it. Find somebody to hold you accountable, somebody that you trust and respect enough to listen to when they try to hold you accountable to the goals you set. You also have to establish some sort of reward and punishment. You see, most people will show up to a job they hate for the rest of their lives because they're afraid of the consequences. They don't want to get fired and they don't want to stop making money. It's totally understandable. But they also have some sort of reward. They want to make money and they want to promote to make more money. You've got to figure out what drives you. So you can set the goal and then figure out some sort of reward and some sort of punishment that's going to keep you moving forward. So again, find that person to hold you accountable so you can kickstart that momentum. And that momentum is what's going to help you keep moving forward to achieving your big goals. If you're struggling to get your state of mind in alignment with your intentions to act, that brings us to emotions. And as I said earlier, emotions determine the quality of our lives. If we're pissed off, sad, and frustrated all the time, it doesn't matter how much money we have, how loved we are, or how physically fit we are. We're sad, pissed off, and frustrated all of the time. So we've got to find a way to increase the quality of the emotions we experience. They are the fuel that drives us. And we could have incredible goals. We could have all the resources we would ever need. We could have the most elaborate plan. But if we can't get ourselves in a state to act, well, then we're never going to achieve them. So we've got to figure out how we can do that. And if you're telling yourself that, oh, I'll feel happy when I achieve X, you're lying to yourself. Because when you get there and you achieve that goal, you might celebrate and experience a little bit of glee, but you'll just pick another goal and tell yourself the same dang story. I'll feel good when I achieve X. And while you might achieve a lot in your life, you will be miserable the entire time. So how can we make sure that you don't do that? Well, we have to understand there are three things that influence our emotional state from moment to moment. That is our default way of perceiving things, the narratives unfolding in our mind, and the condition of our physical body. Let's go ahead and start with our default way of perceiving things. The brain evolved for survival. That means it's always looking for problems. You see, all those years ago when we were walking around in the wilderness and we got bit by a snake, we didn't have antivenom, so we would die. Our brains figured out, hey, snakes are deadly, we better pay attention to them. So now we notice them even if we are focused on something else. We'll notice it moving on the ground and we'll jump. We will jump before we become consciously aware of it. So what I'm trying to say is, our brain's default mode of behavior is to look for problems, to look for life-threatening situations, to keep us alive. For most people this day and age, there aren't really that many life-threatening problems. But that part of the brain still exists. So what it will do is it will lock onto a problem, no matter how small it is, and make us feel the same emotions. If we have nothing bigger to compare it to, it might be a visceral experience. It will make us act in spontaneous ways that might cause more harm than good. So we have to be cautious of this and keep a tight rein on it. We have to train our minds to look for the good in our lives and to not overreact to small, non-life-threatening issues. We have to think a little bit more rationally about these things. If we do not train our brains to look for the good in life, it will automatically fill that void with negativity and problems. Now, a good way to do this is in the morning and evening, do gratitude. Now, before you fast forward and skip through this, if you've ever done gratitude and failed, you know that it is either a waste of time or you figured out a way to do it that is really fulfilling. I'm going to teach you the latter because I've done it a few times, and let me tell you, when I'm in a negative state and I ask myself, what am I grateful for? I'll make up some stupid crap, what am I grateful for? And I'll write water, and then I'll write food, and then I'll throw the list aside and be like, what a waste of time. I don't want you to experience that. So it's all in the question we ask ourselves. If you're in a frustrated state or you're just getting started in gratitude and you're not necessarily feeling it, here's what you can do. You've got to be persuasive. Ask yourself a better question. So instead of saying, what am I grateful for? Say, if I wasn't so stubborn and fixated on the negativity in my life and trying to stay in this negative state, what could I feel grateful for if I tried just a little bit? If I let myself feel loved and I wasn't trying to stay in a negative state, and I put a little bit of effort into it, what could I feel loved about? Who makes me feel loved? Who do I love? What could I focus on that would make me excited and happy and enthusiastic to be alive? We've got to be more intelligent with our questions. We can't trick our brains into experiencing a positive emotion, but we can work with it. We can become more persuasive in the way that we communicate with ourselves. And this actually leads us to the second thing that's affecting our emotional state moment to moment, and that is the narrative that is unfolding in our minds. Right now, there's a little voice inside your head that's telling you a story about who you are, what you're capable of, who I am, what this video means to you, what you're going to get out of it, and how you're going to act in the world moving forward. And at any moment, you can interject and stop the story and rewrite it however you want it. You can rewrite your capabilities. You can rewrite your desires. You can rewrite who you are and who you want to be. You can rewrite what you're going to achieve. See, most people will let this story run their life unconsciously. It will just unfold and give them limitations and keep them confined to their safe little space because, again, the mind evolved for survival. So it's going to keep you confined to a routine that works for you. And if we don't take control of this and become aware of it, it acts as a sort of mental prison. But we can at any moment pause, stop the story, set ourselves free, and rewrite it. So I would encourage you, if you're not experiencing the quality of emotions that you would like to experience on a daily basis, try working with this. Try literally rewriting your story on paper. Even if you don't believe it yet, just work on it. Again, we can't trick our own minds, but if we're persuasive enough, we can convince it and work together to achieve some sort of ideal. So I would encourage you to rewrite your story for something that's more freeing, more encouraging, more empowering. Make it inspiring, something worth pursuing. The third thing that affects our emotional state from moment to moment is the condition of our physical body. There's so many different biological needs and urges and sensations and desires that it 100% affects our emotional state from moment to moment. So we've got to find a way to regulate our system and improve the condition of our physical body consistently. This brings us to the third E, energy. Again, energy is the ability to do work. We've got to figure out ways to increase the amount of energy we have so we can experience higher quality emotions and get more done. There's 4 things that I'm going to cover in this video. But honestly, in each of these, the 3 E's, energy, emotions, and effectiveness, there's so many different things that we can do to improve them that I'm going to create one video for each of them and do a deep dive into them. So if you want to find those videos after this, check them out. But for right now, when it comes to energy, I'm going to cover 4 simple things we can do. And the first one is actually kind of a hybrid between energy and emotions, since it affects both of them simultaneously. And that is breathing. We have lost the art of breathing. We're doing it every day, and we will do it every moment of every day until we die. So we've got to get this down. In this day and age, we're not moving too much, so we're breathing less. We're not being conscious of how deep we're breathing or how fast we're breathing, how slow we're breathing, and it 100% impacts our emotional state and our physical state by stimulating our nervous system. By breathing deeper and slower, we calm ourselves down. By breathing shallow and faster, we actually stimulate our nervous system, release cortisol into our body, and we start to sweat. We start to become more active. Our heart rate increases. We become more alert and focused and ready to go. So there's a couple of breathing exercises I'll cover, but first I want to encourage you to check out breathing exercises in general. Just go ahead and research different breathing exercises. There's different emotions and states of mind that you can induce just by changing the way you breathe. It's really amazing that this is not talked about more. Like, it's a kind of an interesting thing. But the two that I'm going to talk about, the first one is if you're trying to wake yourself up and become more alert. Maybe you just woke up in the morning and you're trying to get yourself more alive, so you're not feeling like a zombie. But you breathe in through your nose 4 times until you have a full exhale, and then you breathe out through your mouth until you have a full exhale. Did I say? Yeah, whatever. So I'll show you. 4 in through the nose, 4 out through the mouth. You do this as many times as you need. You might get a little head rush, so I would not encourage you to do this while you're driving or doing anything that would require you to be alert. Because just in case, you shouldn't pass out, but you could. It's a possibility. But if you do that, it will make you more alert and energetic, and you will experience higher quality emotions. Now, the other thing is called box breathing. And so every section of this is 6 seconds. So it's a 6-second inhale, hold for 6 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds, and then hold the exhale for another 6. So I'll show you. And repeat. It's very calming. You should try it right now. The second thing we can do to improve our energy levels on a daily basis is to fix our sleep routine. We are in the midst of a global sleep crisis, and it's so unnecessary. And for this, I'm not going to harp too much on it, but there's 2 primary threats that we should address, and that is technology in the bedroom and caffeine. If you're a caffeine drinker, you probably already know that caffeine has a 6-hour half-life on average. That means if you drink 200 milligrams of caffeine at 12 p.m., in 6 hours at 6 p.m., you will still have 100 milligrams of caffeine in your system. 6 hours later at 12 a.m., in the middle of the night, you will still have 50 milligrams of caffeine in your system. You have probably heard this already, but it's time to fix it. Again, if you need help and discipline's not enough, use accountability to bridge the gap. Find somebody you trust to hold you accountable to your goals. Get a handle on the caffeine. Now, for the rest of us, the biggest threat is technology in the bedroom. I'm not going to tell you to stop looking at screens 2 hours before bed. Although the research says it is beneficial, the thing I'm going to ask you to do is just don't bring it into bed with you. Charge your phone in another room. Get the tech out of the room. It is made for sleeping. You can go on your phone, watch TV, you can work on the tablet or the computer in any other room, in any other space in the whole world, just not your bedroom. It will negatively impact your sleep. And bad sleep means bad energy. Bad energy, bad emotions make you ineffective. You won't achieve your goals. It's not worth it. Get it out of the room. Now, the third thing we can do to increase our energy on a daily basis is exercise. There's no drug that can replicate the benefits that exercise gives us. If you aren't exercising consistently, I'm going to say it's because you don't realize the enormous amount of benefits that it gives us. It is the single best thing we can do to improve our lifespan, our health span, so we can have a better quality life and live longer. There's nothing better than exercise for increasing our energy, improving the quality of the emotions we experience, and becoming more effective every single day. It's just a natural byproduct. And we live stagnant lives. If we don't exercise, we're getting sick. So we've got to establish some sort of exercise routine. I would encourage you to go down some sort of YouTube rabbit hole, whatever you can, to figure out the benefits that exercise yields. Now, the fourth thing, and the last thing we'll cover in terms of generating energy, is nutrition. I'm not going to tell you a diet plan. There's no one diet that's good for everybody else, but you know what you need to eliminate from your diet. The quality of the ingredients and nutrients you pour into your body will determine the quality of the energy that it gives you moment to moment. And if you're giving it crap ingredients, you're not going to get a great product. So get a grip on it. What you put into your mouth is impacting your body, either in a positive way or a negative way. You don't have to get super nitty-gritty with this and figure out all the crazy fine details. And I know the whole diet world and nutrition is so confusing, but start with the basics. Get rid of the crap you know you need to get rid of. And I promise you that alone will help you improve the quality of your energy, your emotions, and your overall effectiveness from day to day. Energy, emotions, and effectiveness. We need all three of these things if we're going to live a high quality life. If you like this video, you'll like the other ones where I do a deeper dive into each of these things. I would encourage you to check those out. But real quick before I go, I want to remind you, get the IMAP workbook. It's totally free. The Immediate Massive Action Plan workbook will help you skip all the crap and get totally clear on exactly what you need to do next to fulfill your goals and your vision. So check out the link in the description below. Again, it's Ricky Otto. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.